Crusaders, Reds, Super Rugby, first playoff game of 2025, and it's 32-12. The Crusaders go through to the next round of the knockout stages. They will host in a semi-final next week. Reds, their season is done. We'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on the game. She was certainly pretty cold and pretty wet and miserable down there in Christchurch, and I think the crowd numbers reflect that. It's a little bit damning about the fact that nobody really seemed to care that much about this game because, I know I don't want to go out in the cold and wet either, but if an event is big enough and key enough and important enough, people will still get out there and do it. Not for this game. This has to be the Crusaders' lowest attendance of the year, surely. But yeah, it did look pretty miserable down there. Crusaders very comfortable and very dominant scrum. Scrum time, half the Reds' penalties conceded was basically just their props copping penalties, and they were getting pinged like all nothing at the breakdown as well, were the Reds. I feel like the Crusaders, particularly the first half, got away with a wee bit, but I don't think the Reds are winning this game, even if the penalty count is a little bit closer than what it ended up being. The first 10 minutes were pretty scrappy. There were some knock-ons. The Crusaders scrum started getting dominant. Josh Fluke with a line break had maybe the best moment of, I don't want to say the entire first half, but it was one of the moments of the first half because there wasn't that much to shout about. First try was a bit of a scrappy one as well. Scotty Barrett from some loose Reds line-out ball. He managed to kind of pounce on that one. It's a Reds mistake, which leads directly to a try. Right on the 5-metre line, so 5-0 to the Crusaders, and they made it 12-0 when the Reds pinged at the breakdown. Maybe a little bit harshly, but the Crusaders went for the corner, they mauled it. Samaiti Williams was able to go over from close range, and 12-0 was already looking like a long way back. Got worse for both sides. Both their 10s went off with HIAs, the difference being Reihana for the Crusaders passed his, and Liner for the Reds failed. So Reds' backline was very much rejigged, and I don't think that helped their cause. Certainly didn't help the flow of the game either way. And that final penalty at the half, I feel like the Crusaders, literally, was it Will Jordan? Literally just tackled a guy, never let him go, and then the Reds guy got pinged for an infringement at the breakdown. I guess for not releasing the ball, but it's hard to release the ball when there's a tackler who doesn't let you go. But it was just one of those things. The James O'Connor missed touch anyway, he kicked it dead, so it kind of didn't affect anything, but it was just a bizarre call that you don't usually see at this level. I don't usually talk about refs that much, but that was bizarre. Let me know if you thought it was bizarre. The halftime stats, the penalty count's 6-1 against the Reds, which is more lopsided than you usually see, but as I said, I think 3 of those were Reds props. So if you keep knocking the ball on, you're going to give this Crusaders pack a chance to scrum you into the ground in the wet conditions. Sometimes that's just going to happen. But the line breaks is 2-zip to the Reds. They have had more of those kind of X-factor moments, but no points to show for it. Second half, you get more handling errors, more Crusaders scrummaging, and they are just squeezing the life out of the Reds territorially. The Reds can't get out of their own half. They hold the Crusaders guys up, and then there's a desperation bit from Bryle and McDermott where they push Cody Taylor into touch as he's trying to score. So they're hanging on, the Reds guys, but then on 56 minutes, I think it's the best moment of the game, maybe in total, or maybe just up until that point. The Crusaders had a couple of phases in the midfield after a bit of a kicking exchange, and then Hotham with the dink through, and he's able to gather the thing in the conditions to be the first man on that ball. To get that kick away was pretty special. 19 points to 0. And then the Crusaders penalty extends their lead to 22-0. So it's a 4-score game now for the Reds, and very much well and truly over. Crusaders close range one finished off by Reihana, makes it 27-0. He's come back on after passing his HIA. But then, as the penalty count, I think at that point was 2 conceded by the Crusaders, bloody Ethan Blackadder with the big clothesline. That's like a literal old WWF move from when I was a kid. Wrestling style clothesline on one of the Reds guys. He gets himself carded. The Reds did manage to score a couple of tries. The first one through Nasser after a maul, and the second one is probably the try of the game. Harry Wilson, how the hell did he kick that thing? He's a loose forward. no time on the ball, just fingertip stuff, dinks the thing through, kicks through for Fraser McRae. So the loose forwards combine. Didn't see that try coming. 27-12, Dalgunu taking the kicks at goal because they got no liner on the field. So wee bit of a comeback, and then the final flurry of the last 10 minutes continues when Preston gets an intercept as the Reds are trying to play out their own 22. Finishes 32-12. So, yeah, pretty emphatic from the Crusaders. The Reds were always chasing this game and never looked that much of a threat. Getting dominated at the scrum certainly doesn't help. Turnovers conceded is pretty high in the wet, 17-16. So in terms of a spectacle, it was wet weather rugby. Missed tackles, 18 apiece, is not terrible. 19 tackles from Zane Nongor, 14 from Antonio Chalfoun. So these guys are your big defensive shift players. Penalty count finishes 11-6, so almost double for the Reds. And as I said, I think at least 5 of those were the props. So it doesn't help. Will Jordan, 6 defenders beaten. Kind of no surprise to see him. He's the top run meter guy as well. But yeah, Crusaders will host the semi-final next week. We'll wait and see who they are going to play. They're going to be tough beating down there, but we will see. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.